Hi, everybody. Welcome back to My Zero Carb Life. I'm Kelly Hogan, and I'm joined today by Mark Strout. And I have talked to you, Mark, so many times online because Mark runs a group called Mark's Health and Nutritional Group, and I hang out there a lot with you. You keep things very upbeat and positive,
Yeah,
and
we
love
like to
that.
laugh.
You do. You post plenty of humor, and I love that about you. I was set to record today with my friend Dana Spencer-Shute, who has been on the channel a couple of times before. However, her internet went out, and I thought, man, what a bummer, right? But I already had my face and my hair done, Mark, and I had my lights set up, and I thought, who else would be really great to talk to on the topic of helping people transition from their first 30 days? We've had this World Carnivore Month, and now it's like, oh, a couple more days. It's February. What do we do now? Yeah. I've really wanted to talk to you before today, and this is a great excuse to do it. So tell people a little bit about your background.
When I was teaching a martial arts class, it was in, I think, November of 2014. It was a kids class. We were going over Muay Thai boxing. I kicked the bag, set my foot down, and Kelly, it sounded like almost like a gunshot. Boom,
oh my
just like
gosh.
that. My left foot just collapsed, and I try not to cry in front of the kids. I broke the bottom of my foot, messed my ankle up, and the whole bottom foot collapsed. Went and saw a podiatrist, and he was a surgeon, and he looked at everything, and he's told me, we need to do this, and different things. And I asked him, I said, "Is Dr. Lynn?" I said, "Dr. Lynn, would it make any difference if I lost some weight?" I said, "I can drop weight." And I knew at that moment how to drop weight. I knew how to drop weight because I had my clients do it and all that. He said, "Sure." He said, "If you can take 1 pound of weight off, that's like 3 pounds every time you take a step." And he said, "If you take 10 pounds off, that's, 30 pounds of force on that foot. And you're going to be in a cast and everything. So, that would help out." He said, "I will reevaluate you in a few months. We'll see how you're doing and see if we're going to have to do surgery." And he already told me the surgery could be really bad. So I went 100% carnivore, and my wife thought I had lost my mind. I was dropping weight, just boom, 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 boom. Went back, maybe not quite 2 months, but it was right at that point. I had already dropped down 60 pounds.
Wow.
And when Dr. Lynn walked in the room, he went, "Mark, Mark, is that you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You weren't kidding that you could drop weight." And I said, "Yeah." So I would say by March of 2015, I was able to get back lifting. I was getting back in shape. I dropped the weight, and then I was trying to add muscle back on. And then you'll never believe what happened.
What happened?
Everybody was going, "Mark, are you sick? Do you have cancer? Do you have some kind of disease? You just are too skinny." And these were people that were seriously 70, 80 pounds overweight themselves. And then a lot of my family members too were concerned when they knew that I was not eating vegetables, I wasn't eating fruit, I wasn't doing this and that. And I hate to say this, but I started adding back in vegetables just to kind of appease people. Not a lot, but I was still adding stuff back in. And I was still in that hyper carnivore state. I was probably at that point 70 to 80% meat only, but I was still adding stuff in just to get along, so people, "Oh, he's got a little bit of broccoli on his plate, so he's normal." That's when my autoimmune issues really started kicking in a high gear. They had been there, but they were just progressively getting worse and worse and worse. I had really thought that, whatever you want to call it, strict keto or carniclose or whatever you want to call it, hyper carnivore, I thought it would help with my RA. It didn't. It did. It did so little, it wasn't helping versus the progression. And I'd already been told by a rheumatologist that by the time I'm in my mid-50s, more than likely I would need use of some type of walking aids.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And my hands I was losing use in my hands. It was just amazing. How bad they were going. I was getting the turning, the swelling. And I had a friend that I knew, his mother had it. And honestly, sometimes I did not even want to see her. And I know that sounds horrible, but I would see her hands all twisted and turned like this. I knew that was my future.
Yeah.
And it was really something I just didn't want to see. And I would see other people like that. I see family members that have the same thing that runs pretty heavily in my family. And I'd always thought, well, it's mainly just the females that have got this in my family, so maybe I'll be spared. and I wasn't. And it was affecting my joints really, really badly, my legs and everything. I had tried everything for that. I tried different supplements, different things. Some things helped. Some things I think were more of a placebo than an actual help. One of my joys in life is combat pistol shooting. And I don't know if you shoot or anything, but one of the things you have to do to be even halfway good, you have to use your thumb a lot, and your fingers have to have a lot of dexterity. And to do a speed reload, you'd have to drop the magazine and fall out. I got to the point I could not even do that, and so I couldn't even effectively shoot. And I think that maybe thought, oh my goodness, what is my life going to be like? I have younger kids also. I thought I'm not going to be able to do the things that I enjoy. So I started doing, I'm a researcher. I like to research. I love to read. I love podcasts. And that's where I ran on to the healing part of carnivore. I never had really appreciated that. I kept thinking, well, I'm just going to get a little bit closer. So I probably pushed it up by 2017. I was 90% carnivore, and I would go a month at a time and see that it didn't really seem to be helping. And I think in August, I'd had a conversation with my wife about this, and she wasn't too keen on me doing this. I said, I think I want to try this. Maybe, Dr. Baker just announced he's going to do the World Carnivore Challenge in 2018. And I think I want to try this for 3 months. I mean, 100%. Okay. And I'm a strict person. When I do something, I do it. I mean, I either don't do it or I do it. So that wasn't a problem for me. And I was a little worried about the social consequences, probably more so than I should have been. But on January 1st, 100%. And my wife surprised me. She'd had IBS-C for 20 some years and been on meds, been on supplements, been on everything, special ways of eating. It had never gotten better. And if we'd go on vacation, it seemed like her nerves would get to her and it would just affect it worse. Okay. It was just horrible. She said, I'm going to do this too. And I thought, there's no way you're going to, you don't even eat beef. I mean, she might eat a little bit of chicken, maybe. And said, no, I'm going to do this. And she did. And her IBS is gone. And so that's kind of, I know that was a long story, but that's kind of how my journey started. So in 2018, January 1st, me and my wife both went 100% carnivore. She's had a couple of times when her family from Mexico has came up, and then they fix all the, the traditional Mexican foods, and she'll eat some of that. And almost instantly, she started having her IBS problems. I mean, super severe, just from just a little bit. So it made a believer out of her, is how little plant material can aggravate certain issues. And I think especially I find this on autoimmune issues and maybe some gastrointestinal issues. That was a long talk, man.
That was fantastic. And I actually did not even know when I asked you to do this, I didn't know until right now, that you kicked it off with a January World Carnivore Month. Okay, well, this was just meant to be. And I will talk to Dana soon about something else, but this was just meant to be. That's fantastic. All right. So we've got a lot of new carnivores now. I mean, I'm getting messages all day, every day. Yes. Yeah. I know that we're interacting with a lot of these brand new carnivores who are doing what you did, a 30-day challenge, but it's coming to an end, Mark. And I have so much hope for these folks that they will continue on, because 30 days is good, but I really like your 3-month thing much better, because 30 days is really just enough time to get very uncomfortable, but not settled. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. Give it 3 months. I mean, really, I think that's a good test. 1 month, no. And one thing I want to back up on me, a lot of people will see my post, and I've seen a lot of the anniversary, you'll see the memories and I'll share, and they'll see, well, you're starting to get results in 2 weeks and 3 weeks. Yeah. But I was hyper carnivore and eating very cleanly since 2014. And if you look at 2017, most people consider that almost 100% carnivore. I mean, I might eat 1 serving of vegetables in a week's time. Right. So even at that point, I was still not getting good success. But when I stopped all plant materials and also nuts, I love nuts. And I thought that would be the biggest issue I would have. It's not a problem. Okay. And giving those all up. So, I think had I just went into this cold turkey from standard American diet, I don't think I would have seen any of the results I've seen as quickly as I did. I think it would have took me at least 3 months to see that. And I didn't see a full remission, I would say, until a year later is when I would consider a thing in full remission. Yeah.
People ask, how long does it take to see any results? Well, for some people, Okay, this is what I tend to notice, and I experienced some of this myself. Almost immediately when I gave up all plants, which I was very, very close to carnivore for a long time myself before I officially switched. But that last little bit, people are like, yeah, but I'm already 90%.
That's what I thought.
As Jennifer Lechner has told me and other people many times, that last 10% gives like 90% of the improvements. So you can't feel like, oh, I'm almost there. Almost carnivore to me is like being almost pregnant. Like it's not really a thing.
No.
And you may see some people without severe issues may be able to handle those plants. That little bit may be fine for them. But for people like you and people like me, Michaela Peterson is another one where even black pepper was enough to keep her autoimmune stuff alive.
Yes.
All right. So once I switched and gave up those plants and then went to eating all the fatty meat I wanted, the first thing I felt was euphoria from being fed. So, and I've seen a lot of people this month, January 2021, they start off and they send these messages and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. And I'm like, yes. And I know what's coming. I know what's coming, but some of you new carnivores at home, I know you've gone through some withdrawal this month, right? And I know you've worked with folks and they're biting their nails, they're eating, maybe they're eating butter, plates of bacon, they're eating anything and everything to just not eat carbs. Now, folks, if you have made it 30 days on just meat, please do not go back because you never, ever, ever have to go through that again. And that's why I do not cheat, because it would not be a cheat in my favor. It would be forcing myself to go through that. And I do not say this lightly, a hell on earth again, because that was awful for me.
Yes.
And if you've been through that in January, it would not be a cheat in their favor to then have some carbs to celebrate the start of February, because you're just going to have to do it again.
Yes. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. And, like Michaela, my wife, we call it poor man prime rib. We'll do some chuck roast and everything. Yes. And she made it up. And if I'll use salt. If I use anything, just a little bit of salt. And she did not even think. She put all the spices that she normally would in there. I ate that.
Yes.
I was throwing up.
Oh my gosh.
Throwing up. It was just like I had not had any of those plant toxins.
Yeah.
And the next day, my hands were like this. They were just stiff and sore. Yep. And, and this is another thing. This was a little thing, but in 2018, the second week I was on this, I have a video. I'm doing that. And I said, that doesn't mean a lot to you, but if people have rheumatoid arthritis, they can't do that. They can't snap their fingers and just able to move. That's one minor things, able to take my ring on and off. I couldn't imagine going through that in January, and then in February, you know what, I'm going to add back in some stuff, and then have all the pain, all the issues.
Yes.
If I even get a little bit of spice in there, I couldn't imagine eating pasta and whatever again, all the refined oils. So, if I do that, by the next day, I'm going to be hurting so badly, and I can't even move. So that does probably help me to stay on the straight and narrow of eating. But anybody on there, you can reverse the beginning of your journey to health just by, I'm just going to lighten up a little bit. I'm going to start adding this back in and that back in. Why?
When I go to my local Walmart, I'm here in North Carolina, there are a lot of folks, 50s and 60s, that are already on little motorized scooters.
I know. I see that all the time, and it just breaks my heart seeing people that if this is what their life looks like now, what is it going to look like in 10 years?
Yes.
And so that's something to think about, not only in the eating, but in our training, also in our stress management, our sleep. There's so many intangibles that we have to try to take care of.
Yes. A good thing for people who are, especially you're finishing up the first month of carnivore, this all is part of your why. Why do you do this? And I think it is really important for people to keep envisioning their life if they continue on this path and they keep eating, one path versus the other. Either I'm going to just give in and YOLO, Mark. Eat everything.
Yeah, you only live once.
Right.
Eat. Yeah.
Yes. Have the donuts. Okay, so here's this path, and you've got to really picture where that is headed. What do you want to be like? I've studied some of the 7 Habits of Leadership by Stephen Covey. It's part of my
Covey.
Yeah, I work at a Stephen Covey school, so we teach those 7. Yeah, we teach the habits. And one of them is to begin with the end in mind. And you need to picture what you want your 70s to look like and what you are doing right now every single day and every bite, because no one but you is in control of that. And in a time where I think so much feels out of control, feel like I can't control this and that, there's regulations you can't have control over. You control what goes in here. And what goes in your mouth is going to impact your 60s, 70s, and 80s. And you need to keep that in mind as the why. And I know for you, that pain, that instant pain is part of the why every single day. All right. Absolutely. So I think a lot of folks who have done this month, maybe they went through the gastrointestinal issues. Usually by day 30, people are starting to, Dr. Ken Berry and I called it the carnivore cleanse.
Yes.
Where everything comes straight out. That's normally starting to calm down for folks by the end of that month. Sometimes people in the first month have a lot of leg cramps, especially at night. These are all part of adaptation that work their way out. Sometimes folks can use magnesium sprays, can help with that. Adjusting salt intake one way or the other can help. But it's also just like part of the process sometimes. Because you're converting from one fuel source to another fuel source, and that's going to take a little bit. So it's going to have withdrawals, some bathrooming issues sometimes leg cramps. Sleep gets interrupted for a little while.
Yeah.
But by the end of the first month, that starts to resolve. And some of those cravings, you've learned ways to deal with it. You can get you some bacon and cream cheese or something to deal with that. And part of it is just breaking old habits. They say it takes 24 days to start. To break a habit. So I think folks need to realize that even if they weren't perfect, they've come so far in just 30 days, and they're about to hit the sweet spot. Don't you think?
Oh, it gets easier. And, I posted a deal today, and it was showing this day, 2018. Yeah. And it had the same meal. I know people probably get tired of seeing my steaks all the time and whatever else, eggs or shrimp or whatever I'm eating with it. But, they see that. And I posted, I said, I crave this more now than even then. And I mean, I loved it then. And I guess I call it the taste of healing. Healing is the best taste you can have. And I never get tired of it. I hear that all the time. I'm sure you do. Don't you get tired of meat and eggs and bacon? No, never.
People lose their taste for meat for a little while, where they're like, I cannot even look at meat right now. And
I've
just the sight of it, they can't take it. I honestly feel like it is the body's last temper tantrum, where it is like, I want the goods. Give me the sugar now. Yes. I'm not eating anything else until you give me the sugar.
Yes.
And if you can power through that and make yourself eat make yourself eat any type of animal product that does sound appealing, or B, if there's nothing, then don't eat.
Yeah.
It won't kill you to just not eat if you have no appetite. It's fine.
Yeah, but that's absolutely great advice.
Yes, but it passes. People think, and I've lost my taste for meat, and now I'm done as a carnivore. No. It's like a toddler. Just because they're on the floor screaming at the grocery store does not mean they're going to live there. Like, they'll get up. They're going to get right back to it.
That's exactly right. And how many people eat when they're not even hungry? I mean, the typical standard American diet. They just eat because they're bored, or they eat because they're in a social setting, or, hey, we're watching a movie, so I must eat. It's not because they're hungry.
No.
And it's just amazing. But if you ever lose that taste, don't eat and come back at it. And oh my goodness, it's going to feel so good. Your body's going to think, okay, I need this. This is the nutrition that I need.
Your body will eventually ask for not just food. It will ask for meat, eggs, dairy, if you can tolerate it. It will, because that's where the nutrients are.
Yeah. Now, one thing I've noticed when I started this, and I always tell people, listen to your hunger signals, your body cues. But, if you have food addictions, if you're not metabolically healthy, you do have to be careful with that maybe. But when I first started, when I would eat eggs, I would have the worst gastrointestinal issues ever. So 6 months into this, we were on vacation in Florida, and my wife was cooking some eggs for the kids. I thought, man, that smells good. I thought, but I don't want all the gastrointestinal problems. I said, you know what? Give me one egg. I'm going to eat one egg. And I ate it. It was fine. Didn't have any trouble.
Yeah.
So a few days later, I ate one more. And so I don't know if it was just my body was needing it and before it couldn't. And I know some people can never do eggs, but I just went with it. And I mean, after a few months, I could eat a dozen eggs at one setting and with no issues whatsoever. Pretty much it was ribeyes and eggs for me forever. And then a few months ago, I just wasn't craving eggs. I don't know why. I just wasn't craving them. And I was craving shrimp. So I would just eat shrimp. Maybe I needed iodine. I don't know. But I went with it. And every now and then I'll crave eggs. I'll add them back in. And like as you said, with liver, sometimes I crave them. I'll eat a little bit of liver, but I don't eat organ meats. I mean, every now and then when I'm craving it, I'll eat a little bit, but it's not a popular thing in our household. So I don't do it too often. But I think when you go with that, your body learns what it needs when you're healed. And it will tell you kind of what you need to be eating.
Oh my gosh. I agree with that so much. I do.
Yeah, listen to your body.
Yes. When it comes to salt, when it comes to fat, when it comes to the organ meats, you eventually just start to listen and your body knows what it needs.
I used to have to use gobs of salt in the summer. And I may go back to it. I would even supplement with taking a few salt pills just because I would have some issues every now and then. And I don't know, a few months ago, I'm just not really in the mood for salt.
Nope.
Don't seem to miss it. No issues. Now, maybe when I'm working out in the heat on our farm, I may need it, but I don't question it. I just go with it. So I'm probably using half the salt I normally did. And, like the Andersons, they use 0 salt. I know many of the carnivores use none. And I thought, how do you do that? But now I'm kind of like, hey, maybe after, 3 years, maybe I'm not needing as much of it. So I don't question that as much as I just go with it and see how my body adapts to it or adjusts to it.
Okay. So Mark, I hear some people say specifically, I've done my 30 days. I'm going to go get my blood work done. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, this is not a good time. Your body at the 30-day mark, your body is like crazed haywire for most people right now, unless you were very close to healed already and just had, that final step or something. So I don't know how you typically advise people, but I do not think the 30-day mark is a good time to go get some blood drawn.
No. And a lot of the numbers are going to be haywire. I don't think 30 days is enough. No, I would say more like 6 months to a year is what I'm thinking. And understand your numbers. Understand, probably Dave Feldman would be a good person to listen to understand how cholesterol works. Feldman protocol, if you want to drop it for, say, a test for insurance, was it 7 days beforehand? Eat as much loads of fat as you can, and your cholesterol numbers will drop. I know that's so opposite. But if I really wanted my numbers to go sky high, and he's proven this over and over, I would go do a high intensity resistance training, and I would do it fasted. And I do that sometimes. Okay. And I would fast. I would do a forced fast, even if I was hungry. And I'm not going to pay the money to do this because he's already done it for us. Okay. Your numbers should be through the roof on cholesterol.
You're talking total cholesterol.
Total cholesterol.
Total cholesterol.
So again, it's not what you're ingesting. It's how your liver is producing most of this. So, on his protocol to drop cholesterol, a lot of people that need to take a test for their company or whatever, they'll have them for 7 days, eat loads of fat and kind of be a couch potato. And their cholesterol numbers will dramatically drop. And if I remember right, he has moved his cholesterol throughout a day. I mean, it's over 50 points. I don't want to say, but it's over 50 points in one day. Just by doing different things. So it shows it's a transient number.
Yes.
But, there's so many things that we don't look at that are a lot more indicative of heart health than total cholesterol or LDL and all that.
Total cholesterol and LDL. And I feel like, especially in the first 30 days, those are crazy.
Oh,
but honestly, all humans, I believe you were right, total cholesterol and LDL is a very volatile thing.
It is.
Yeah, and it is a very statistically very poor indicator of any future heart incidences.
Oh, absolutely.
They're not going to be able to base anything about your future health on your total cholesterol or your LDL.
No.
In fact, the people who live the longest tend to have total cholesterol numbers well above 200. That's the only statistical inference that people have been able to actually make. And yet, statins are being pushed on people. So if these brand new carnivores go to the doctor right now at the start of February, who knows what you're going to find. And I really fear that they're going to get doctors who focus only on that total cholesterol number, which if you had it done tomorrow might be completely different. We tend to, as carnivores, and based on actual data and research, focus on, we want to see high HDL and low triglycerides. But at the 30-day mark, we can't even guarantee that for them.
No, you can't. That's just not enough time. And, you look at the studies on longevity and where the people have lived the longest. It's a high cholesterol, low inflammation markers. So that's the thing. And, if you're looking at things to be concerned about a cardiac event, and again, we're not doctors, we're not cardiologists or anything like that. But, high inflammation numbers, C-reactive proteins, high levels of homocysteine levels, and those generally are never even discussed. I mean, they're getting to be a little bit more now because people are becoming more educated in and of themselves, and sometimes they'll bring this to a doctor who's probably thinking, what's homocysteine level have to do with anything? Well, there's very good evidence showing correlations between that. There's other markers too. And so, there's a lot, like I said, Dave Feldman's a good resource on this.
People, if you think, well, how will I know if I'm getting healthy if I don't have a piece of paper to tell me? Okay, so go by things that I would look for as they head into month 2. When people are reflecting on, did I succeed in month 1 of carnivore? I think most people only focus on, did the scale move?
Did the scale move? Yeah.
Some people, obviously it does. We see plenty of people right now saying, first month of carnivore, I'm down X number of pounds. And then others, they haven't lost. And so they feel like January was a failure for them.
Yes.
Which is disappointing because, organs can actually become more dense. Muscle becomes heavier. You have changes in your body. And also, if you are healing actual problems, your body cares more about your autoimmune issues and your gut and all of these things than it does about getting smaller.
Absolutely. Some of the people that maybe to some people look the best, and I'm talking about competitors in fitness, whether it be bodybuilding or fitness physique, they may have single-digit body fat numbers. But let me tell you, I know for a fact those people are miserable, and they do that for a contest. And it looks great maybe to a lot of people, but it's not healthy. That is definitely not healthy. So don't let the body fat percentage, that there is a correlation of healthy and unhealthy. But what we have been conditioned to see in magazines and on social media, that's not necessarily healthy. Getting healthy and feeling good is the major metric I would look for. How do I feel? How did I get up this morning and was able to move efficiently? If you can't move efficiently, you're not going to have, a good 10 years down the road or 20 years. It's only going to get worse. Can you do things? Are you functional? Those are very important things to look for. Do you feel good? Are you happy? I mean, those are things to be very concerned about. And we overlook that and look at a scale. There's many other ways of judging health than scale.
Yes. For women, look at cycle. How is that going in hormones? Everyone can look at your skin. Think about your sleep, your hair, your energy, your moods. How do you feel about life right now when you're eating a lot of steak every day versus when you were trying to go hungry eating salads all day every day? That matters. That's your life.
It matters a lot. And one thing too that I've seen this, and it's not indicative of even keto or carnivore or really anything, but if you do lose a massive amount of weight quickly, I have seen people start getting thinner hair and losing some hair. But that's true. That's transient. That's normal. But your body will adjust. In 2009, 2009, after I had my accident. I'll look back and I posted some pictures the other day. I found on one of the uploads, we're getting some old pictures. I mean, my hair was just going back like that. And I mean, I've got hair. I've still got it. I mean, the rate I was going to lose all my hair, I think, within just a couple of years. So, I mean, those are things that some people get, women in particular, well, guys too, if they start noticing their hair is getting thinner or something like that, and they think, well, I went carnivore, it must be that. But if you've lost a great amount of weight, regardless of what you're eating, that's pretty common.
Absolutely.
Don't let that better you. Yeah.
Including women who are perfectly healthy but have babies, and then afterwards they lose the baby weight. Our hair, your hormones are changing, weight is changing, hair comes out. I've had 3 babies. I lost so much hair every time. And I was completely carnivore. It wasn't my diet.
No.
But it comes back. I mean,
it does. It does.
Yeah.
But I hear that a lot. I just hear it. Well, I tried it and I started losing hair. My hair started thinning, so I quit. No, you just give it time. You got to give it time.
So many things. 30 days is just not long enough.
It isn't. No. And on the athletic side of it, now I have seen people that especially if they're the ones that, were doing high glycolytic workouts and they're doing a lot of carb loading or whatever, and they may go to carnivore and they may have a huge decrease in performance. Again, that's transient. That will pass. Your body has got to figure out how to not only produce ketone bodies, it's got to figure out how to use them. And if you've been a carb burner, sugar burner your whole life, and you depend on that, you go into your workout and you're taking all these carbohydrates to have a good performance.
Yeah.
When you don't have those, your body has done this for 20, 30, 40 years, and it's got to figure out a new way to fuel the muscles. That's not an easy process for the body to adapt to, because for most humans, probably the last time they were in ketosis at any point in their life was when they were nursing. If they nursed. And nobody else, they don't have enough time, space between their meals and with all the carbohydrates. So that's something else. And I'll hear people, well, I'm not going to do it. Or if they are doing carnivore, I took a hit on my performance. That's normal. That's normal. That will come back within 3 months.
Okay, so you feel like by the end of 3 months, most people have seen their energy pick back up. Because you're right. People have said to me, I'm so tired. I'm like, yes, you're going through a big thing right now. This is a big thing.
Big thing. It's huge. Most carnivores, we don't really talk about ketones. We don't really worry about it. But for athletes, if you're doing something like that, it could be important. That may be something I'd be a little concerned about the first maybe 3 months. So maybe add an extra amount of butter to your eating. That might be a great thing just to keep those ketone bodies up. For that.
Even when I feel my own energy slump, every once in a while, I will just go and get some extra butter myself, and I can feel a
Carnivore
little pick
ice
up
cream.
there. Some carnivore ice cream. Yeah, man. Do you ever freeze a stick of butter?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
That little pop where you put your teeth in it, and it just pops off.
I know.
That little crunch.
It's amazing. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely carnivore ice cream right there. It doesn't get any better than that.
Right. Now, if there are people who are getting all the fat that they need from steak, your body is not going to crave butter. There is no reason at all to force that down just because Kelly and Mark like eating butter.
No.
Don't do it.
No.
Just like there's no reason to force down salt or anything else because
bacon grease too.
Nope. Don't do it. Don't do it. You will be running to the bathroom. Don't do it.
No.
But
no.
Your body will tell you when you take a bite of butter if that was a good or a bad idea.
Yeah, you'll find out. You'll know in a few hours whether that was something good or bad. You will get feedback.
Yes, you will. All right, let's talk about social interactions with people. When you're starting off, I've told people before, you may not want to make giant life announcements to all of your friends and family. The words, I'm never eating anything else but meat, is going to freak out all of the humans.
Yes.
So maybe don't, declare it that way. But if you were to say something to people like, you know what? I've just been eliminating other foods and I'm feeling very good right now, just eating meats. So I'm going to try that for a while to see if I keep feeling good. People are pretty cool about you feeling good usually.
They are. I approach it and explain it just as if I had a shellfish allergy or a nut allergy or my kid had that. And they're very respectful. And a lot of these people, they may have gluten intolerances.
Yeah.
And so they kind of understand that, or they have a child that has a peanut allergy or whatever. So I just say that I had to eliminate all plant materials from my eating refined oils because my autoimmune issues. And my wife will say because of her IBS.
Yeah.
So, and most people are very understanding. And that's how I approach it, just as which it is a food allergy. It's not like I'm making it up. It is.
No.
And so I mean, I can eat just like Michaela. If I eat just a small amount of spice, pepper or whatever, I can pepper not so much, but some other stuff, just spices. I mean, I'll have a huge reaction to it. So yeah, I mean, most people are very respectful when you're up front with them. Yeah.
Most humans want to see other humans feeling good. I mean, unless you're a total jerk, you don't want to see someone hurting.
Yes.
So they're pulling for you, especially if it's your family and friends. They want you to feel good.
Yeah.
So when I am going somewhere where they do not know me, I may tell them, you know, I have some kind of special dietary concerns.
Yes.
And it's up to me how much I want to go into it.
There you go.
And I'll say, do you mind if I just bring something that I could share with everybody that I could have too?
Perfect.
Who on earth would mind? Who would mind that?
Most people are actually happy to see you get better, to heal. And they can see it in your face. They can see it in your body. They can see it in your mood. And, you know, if people are unhappy for that, maybe we don't need those people in our lives, or we need to limit them or put some boundaries up, you know.
Oh my gosh, I agree.
You know?
You're just always such a nice guy. If any of you at home are looking for support for Carnivore, Mark's Nutritional and Health Group on Facebook. I will link it in the description. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story with us, and I hope this has given people some real motivation to stick with this. You've started a good thing. We're proud of you.
We are.
Really, you've done something out of the box that goes against everything that the U.S. government has told you should be eating.
Oh, absolutely.
That probably against what your mama told you should be eating. And you tried it. And so I would just say, you know, maybe give it a little more time. And if you have had successes, I would love to hear about those. If you would like to comment below or send them to us, or go join a group and share some pictures or tell your story. It does your heart good and good to other people.
Holds you accountable too.
Yes, it does. To share that with other people who are interested in hearing it. You know, maybe your neighbor at a party isn't interested, but we sure are. We are here for we're here for it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mark. I'll see you online,
thank you. And you've been a great inspiration for me and so many people, and so glad to chat with you. Yeah, anytime.
Thank you, Mark. Same to you.
Right. Bye.